What's happening, people? We're back again, back in the house, back for another show. We'll talk Arsenal. It is myself tonight with Northside, who's back in the house, and I've brought on Kenny Ken as well to say hello. Kenny, it's been a while, my bro. How are you, mate?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I've had a good few days. My wife had her 50th birthday last week, so we
Oh,
spent
congrats, man.
celebrating that, being out, and obviously, I was gutted and really, really underwhelmed with the game at Villa Park. Wasn't happy at all. Still, smarting from it. I'm not going to blame VAR or decisions by referees or things. I'm blaming the players because we had enough chances to win 3 or 4 games, let alone the one we should have won. And I watched, like I said, the dead rubber yesterday. But unlike a lot of people, I have no problems with team selection because I think it'd be a bit of a, let's just say, it'd be going a bit too far if like I said, select the kids, and then what do you say to Omaneni, who's signing a new contract? What do you say to Nelson, all those players? You're taking the mic out of them by not by playing the kids. Kids, if they're good enough, they'll play. If they're ready, they'll play. Don't just give them the game for the sake of it. People, are fighting for new contracts and people are fighting for places in the first team. Wait your turn, little boys.
Well, listen, we're going to get into it. Northside, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, man. I am, and I'm a bit tired. I've literally had a bit of a couple busy days, but Arsenal last night didn't really lift me up, if I'm honest, or wake me up, that's for sure. But at the same time, I didn't think it was a terrible game. Big up to PSV for what they did. Big up to us for what we did. I didn't think it was a shocker. I didn't think it was a great game. But let's be real, it wasn't really one that I looked at to be of excitement. But there's some talking points, something, bro. I want to start with you, Northside, because there's a lot of debate or disagreements and agreements with our approach to the game in terms of our team selection, bruv. Now, I was on the watch along and I said, look, I don't really care what team we put out there, but I'd like to see some of the first players rested so that they're ready for the weekend. So I was a bit disappointed to see Saliba and Gabriel. But at the same time, I hear a lot of people say, well, we got to win the game because it's a competitive game of football. And Arteta tried to do that by flinging on players like Declan Rice, Erdegaard, Jesus, etc. Where do you stand on that, bro? Did you because for me personally, I don't care that the kids didn't play. I don't care what their name are. It doesn't bother me whether it's Ethan and Moneri, Cedric, Jorginho, El Neni. If you're ready to play, go play. But I was a bit annoyed that we saw a few of the first teamers that, let's be real, I don't want to see get injured. And the reason I don't want to see you get injured is because our squad's still not strong enough, in my opinion. So it's okay if you've got somebody to back up Declan Rice. It's okay if you've got somebody to back up Saliba and Gabriel that you trust. But I don't know that we've got that. So that's where I stand on it. I personally wouldn't have liked to have seen what happened at West Ham only a few weeks ago, where we're 3-0 down and he's flinging on Saka and Erdegaard and Rice to win us a game. And we kind of saw him do the same again last night, which was a bit of a strange one for me. But a lot of people have been different on this one, bro. So where do you stand, man?
I think this game, I was happy that we put out this lineup because it goes to show once again that this fixed bench and this fixed squad ain't good enough. These players that played are the players that we're going to rely on if we're stuck in certain games. Newcastle, West Ham, when we lost to Lons, when we lost to Aston Villa. These are the players. And there was something, Kenny said it last season, we're leaking too many goals last season. And people, no, we're top of the league, we're top of the league. They didn't want to see the warning signs. And this game, to me, is another warning sign before we're done and we're with what we have. We're approaching the January transfer window. We can still rectify certain things to go on to win major honours if we go out there and get the players that are necessary. And this game showed that the level from the first team to the second team is a dramatic drop-off in personnel. And a lot of players that a lot of this fan base want to justify ain't that great. They're just not that great. Reece Nelson, a lot of Arsenal fans celebrated him getting a new contract. To me, he was the best out of a bad bunch because he actually showed some desire to go forward. He was always trying to run at them.
Agreed.
Still not good enough. Still not good enough, in my opinion. Havertz, what did I say? This guy ain't good enough. Not consistent enough. Not good enough if you want to win major honours. Jorginho, a lot of this fan base come up with the same bucaria about, oh, he can control the midfield. Did he control the midfield? No, he didn't. Kivior, I told people there was a reason why when we had the injury last season to Saliba, we played Kivior, and then he got this place within a couple of games for Rob Holding. He was deemed by this manager not even the level of Rob Holding. So why did we sign him? Because we got rid of Rob Holding because he also wasn't good enough. Kivior is not good enough. Cedric is not good enough, which is why we was trying to flog him out to Fulham. We were struggling. Trossard, I like Trossard, but he's been my bucaria. The guy comes on the pitch all the time with bags under his eyes like he's Uncle Fester from the Addams family. Wake up, bro. Are you trying to fight for your starting lineup place, or are you just happy being on the bench? I don't understand. Yeah. And the thing is, look at the level of opposition that we almost lost to. Our bench is of the level of PSV, and that is not a club that you can hold up and say this is the level of the Champions League if you want to win it. They're at best really and truly a Europa League level team, and even that they don't win it. So at the end of the day, when I'm looking at this bench after all this time and money spent by this manager, and we go up against PSV and they're matching us, they had so many chances where they should have buried us. They were playing better. They looked more up for it. They were the ones asking more questions of our defense than vice versa. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. And people think that this squad that we put out, our bench, is fixed and we bridge the gap with Man City and that they can do a job. Did they do a job against Aston Villa, this bench? No. Did they do a job against Newcastle? No. Did they do a job against West Ham? No. So, listen, for me, and I've been saying, people say, no, we need a striker in January. I've been saying we need multiple positions. Reece Nelson, ultimately not good enough. Our midfield, when you're not relying on our main three, not good enough. We lost the midfield battle against PSV. We need another centre-back. I've been saying it. I know that Timber's injured, but Kivior is shocking. Absolutely shocking. I wouldn't want to bring him to the middle of the park. He's bad enough on the wing. He's bad enough as a left-back. You know, and then what we're going to do? Play Ben White? Ben White made his name in this team playing as a fullback, not a centre-back. So we don't have all the rotation people think. And when we do have rotation, the quality is uma porcaria, bro. So listen, this game is one for Arsenal fans, the ones that can actually think ahead. This is a warning sign that we need to go out in January and buy at least 3 to 4 players if we're going to be serious about winning a major honour. Because what we saw there is only going to continue because the levels there, it was shocking yesterday. Absolutely shocking.
Yeah, Kenny, look, Northside makes some good points in terms of our squad depth, in my opinion. I quite liked the performance on the right-hand side of the pitch. I thought the performance on the left-hand side was pretty dud, if I'm honest. I agree about Trossard and I agree about Kivior. I don't think he's a left-back, Kivior. I really don't. And I looked at the situation on the right side. Cedric actually impressed me. I don't think he's good, by the way, but I thought he actually had an all right game. And Nelson, I thought, was really good. But again, I think there are 4 or 5 holes in this team that if players were to get injured, that's what we had on. And I was having a debate with James on the watch along, and he was saying, I think this second string Arsenal side would probably come 8th in the Premier League. And I was like, are you for real? I'm no way is that team coming 8th. That team is struggling to get into the top half for me, right? And I'm being serious. Like, I'm not saying they're all trash players. I'm sure they'll do okay at a Fulham or a Palace or a Wolves or something like that. So I still think we were a bit short, Kenny, yesterday. I think that proved that last night.
I've been saying it for a couple of years. I see it on shows I've done with Northside, on shows that I've done with yourself and Lee Judges, and obviously stuff with Lee and Jez. You know, I've said it and I'll never stop talking about it. You know, people always talk about depth. I always talk about it's quantity more than anything else. Sorry about that. Just putting the power in. Let's just put the power in.
That's all right, mate.
Yeah, you go. Yeah, it's quantity rather than quality, and that's the thing. You know, you get a lot of rubbish from people on Twitter. They use that silly word called gargantuan about, you know, our squad. It's not anything of the sort. In terms of numbers, no, you know, the numbers are there. But I've always talked about a gap in quality between players. You know, right now, Trossard has done a very good job of creating a gap of quality between himself and, you know, Martinelli. That shouldn't be happening because he's got a better football brain. He's got more experience, yet in terms of his performances, when he started games, he's dropped the ball. He's been very inconsistent last season. He hasn't got the element of surprise he had last season, but the commodity that Trossard doesn't have is pace. If he had Martinelli's pace, we're talking we're closing the gap in quality, but the gap's far because his lack of pace and his inconsistency. And then, Northside's right. That's always been the case, and that's the problem. A lot of clubs have got. Arsenal have had for a long, long time. Even going back to Arsene Wenger, our first 11 when we won all those trophies under Wenger was unbelievable, unbelievable. But the second 11, night and day. I see what James is saying, but what's happened, James, is that a lot of teams have got a lot better now. Tottenham are stronger. Aston Villa are stronger. Newcastle got their money and they're stronger. So with Arsenal finishing 8th, I don't see it happening. There's no doubt in my mind that we're not going to be finished up. We'll struggle. For a start, that team doesn't play enough games. And Nelly's hardly ever played. Since probably 2 seasons ago. Reece Nelson rarely plays. I mean, how many games has Reece Nelson played since he got that half volley against Bournemouth? I can't think that many. And then you've got Smith Rowe's in and out of the side because through injury, and the team's moved away from him. So you're talking about that team. The depth in quality is just night and day. It's really, really a concerning thing because, as Northside says, January's going to be an important time for us. But the problem is, I can't see Arteta going for the players that we need. He'll probably go for a midfielder because I think he does feel that we will need a midfielder. But a striker, forget it. You're not getting a striker. Just, inject that into your veins. If we get anyone in January, it's going to be a midfielder and a defender. Striker, forget it. You've got to wait for someone for that. That's the situation. It's nothing to do with money. It's to do with what the manager sees as priority. And that's the thing. What the fans see as priority and what Mikel sees as a priority is night and day. Night and day. And that is going to be an issue. Because in the second half of the season, when Man City get De Bruyne fit and get all the other players fit, you're going to see the fact that there isn't a gap between Man City's second team and their first team. You think about it. He told them, he was happy for Morris to go. He, lost God to one. He basically told Cole Palmer to do the Frank Boff. The reason why he knew, because he knew in the second half of the season, that's when they cook. They haven't got that problem with the depth of the squad. They're the only team who've got depth. Arsenal haven't. That's why I think it's going to be very, very difficult for us to win the league because that second string is just not good enough. I know you're a big Aaron Ramsdale fan, but Aaron Ramsdale's done out of here. He's part of the problem. I'm not saying Ray's going to help us win the league, but at Ramsdale, not a chance, mate. That's another thing we may have to do. We might need to buy a new goalie tomorrow in January because Ramsdale might think, well, the only chance I've got of going to Germany is if I go out and loan or leave the club because Arteta's made it abundantly clear that his time's up. We've heard a few things behind the scenes that exemplify that state as a fact. So it's going to be a concerning time. And let's not forget the games we got before the transfer window. Brighton, who we never beat at home. Liverpool away. And you've got West Ham with just Jekyll and Hyde. You know what I mean? 1 minute they try and the minute they're just paupers. So, yeah, it is a concerning time because, it's another 20 years without winning the league and 4 years without silverware and 30 years without winning Europe.
Listen, there's a big up Laguna Lee, by the way, in the house, shouting King Kai to Northside. Listen, you're never going to hear Northside saying King Kai, I tell you that. Listen, Northside, Kenny brought up some good points there in relation to the holes in our squad. I was having a chat in a tolly with a few lads, must have been about a month ago now. And I was debating with them. They were telling me that all we need is a striker and we're there. And I couldn't disagree more, man. Listen, we need a centre forward, that's for sure. But that isn't the only position we need. And I just think last night proved that, really. I'm not saying that we were a shambles last night, but I know what these players can do because they've proven it to me. There was nothing I looked at last night and learned Northside. I didn't look at that and go, wow, I didn't expect this performance from him. Or, whoa, did anyone see this amazing slide? It was just a normal performance. I expected Eddie to probably score a goal. I expected Reece Nelson to come and give 110. I expected El Neni and Jorginho to be just Jorginho and El Neni. And that's exactly what it was. There was nothing that disappointed me or concerned me. But because I've already pointed out the concerns for the gaps and the holes in this team. So when you look at no box-to-box midfielder other than Rice, no right-sided centre-back, the goalkeeping situation Kenny's brought up, rightly so, there's still, I don't think, potentially any cover for Ødegaard that I have much faith in, although Havertz has played a bit better of late. I do think as well that Nelson played well, but I don't really want to see him in, if Saka goes down with a hamstring for 6 to 8 weeks, him coming into the team and expecting him to be a Bukayo Saka overnight. And then, of course, there's still the goalkeeper. That's 6 positions. So this isn't like, oh my God, Arsenal need 1 or 2 players and they're up there. So it didn't really prove anything to me. I just think that we are definitely going to see those players coming in, I hope. But I don't think it's going to be in January. I think we'll be lucky if we get 1 or 2 in January. And then again, we'll be looking towards the summer. So I don't think the game last night proved anything other than the points we've been raising over the last weeks, which is our squad depth, bro.
You know what? You just said it. We'll probably get 1 if we're lucky. If we're really lucky, get 2, and then we'll look to the summer. When have we gone out there in the last 20 years in the summer and do what we need to do? Because this is 2 seasons now in a row that we're looking in January and saying we need multiple players for multiple positions. When is that going to stop? You know, I know you're always wanting to strengthen the team, but this has been a occurring theme for Arsenal in the last 20 years. And this is what gets me annoyed. And the thing is, the majority of this fan base will just lap it up. They'll lap it up. If we don't get a striker, well, Havertz, he can do a job, impact sub, you know, put him on, just put a couple crosses into the box. Havertz had a flipping cross go to him against PSV. He hits it to the flipping corner flag. Like, you know what I mean? This guy's inconsistent. But the thing is, bro, it's just the same story again and again and again. And next year. And I'm not saying that you're saying that, but the thing is, it's like people are saying, you know, to whoever you spoke to, and I've heard this already with Arsenal fans, we just need 1 striker. No, we don't. No, we don't. Look at the scare we had earlier on in the season when Saka was out of form, going down injured. We're all panicking. Where's the rotation? Because nobody truly believes in Reece Nelson. If Reece Nelson takes over from January, nobody's going to be happy with that. So that shows how they really feel about Reece Nelson. And then you look at, you know, our midfield. We've got Ødegaard that goes missing, you know, and then the club coming out with his injured. I feel that was not injured. He was fine, yeah, but we didn't see Ødegaard. All of a sudden, Ødegaard's missing. Why? Because he was out of form. The guy, he only plays well when we're actually dominating the midfield. When we're not dominating the midfield, Ødegaard, he's just a passenger. And then you've got the Xhaka role that we still haven't filled, which I said we should play El Nene, holding, protecting, shielding the back 4, and then you can play Declan Rice doing that Xhaka role and also contributing defensively. The manager doesn't want to do that. So we need to replace Granit Xhaka. Then we're looking at the centre-back options. We played our 2 best centre-backs because we don't really have any centre-back options. So we need another centre-back. And Kivior, from what we've seen against Luton and now against PSV, is not up for it. Then you look at the right-back position. Ben White has not been on it. Tomiyasu, for me, has played better than him this season. So there's multiple positions that we need strengthening. And like you said, we need another goalkeeper. We've got 1 goalkeeper that's favoured and he does nothing. You know, I mean, he's not good enough. He's not really claiming his place in the team, just like Trossard. And then you've got another goalkeeper, Ramsdale, that's saying he can't concentrate for 90 minutes and makes the same mistakes as the preferred goalkeeper. And people are saying, what, just having 1 striker is going to solve it? It's such basic thinking sometimes of Arsenal fans, and that's what annoys me. Like they, you know, oh, we're top of the league, just be happy. Now we're not top of the league. We just need a striker. Then we get a striker. Oh, we don't get a striker. Then it's, oh yeah, but the market is hard and it's too expensive to buy in January. That's what we got last January. All these Arsenal fans that are telling us, oh, we're just going to strengthen in January. Hold on, last year you're telling us, when me, Kenny, Lee, all of us were saying that we need to get multiple players in January. No, it's too expensive in January. It's a myth. It's an absolute myth. You pay a premium in January because a lot of teams, they got their aspirations and goals and they don't want to get rid of their best players, so you pay a premium. You pay a premium in the summer because everybody's trying to rebuild, and then it's like at the moment with the cars, low emissions, because so a lot of people getting rid of their diesel cars. So the price of cars have gone up, which is why my partner's trying to get a car and it's expensive. You know what I'm saying? So in the summer, there's high demand. With high demand, the price goes up. So either way, you're paying a premium. You are paying a premium. Didn't we pay a premium for Rice? Why? Because Man City was also in the race. So either way, you're going to play top dollar for top players. There's no window where you're going to get players for the cheap. So just go out there and spend the money. But there's always an excuse. Oh, can't buy in January. Oh, in the summer. Oh, well, we got some work done. Oh, we're ready. We bridged the gap. Oh, this player can do a job, can do this and that. Bro, it's nonsense, bro. It's nonsense. There's always an excuse.
Do you think Northside? Do you think, like Gunali's in the chat says, before I go, question for the lads: with a fully fit squad, do you think we could have won the league? Because for me, it's about, you're going to get injuries, so we definitely need squad depth, right? But with a first 11 and with no injuries, with a few of our backups, got Tommy Yasu's parties and Timber's injured at the moment. Do you think we can win the league if no one gets injured?
It's not about that, Dan. This is what I'm saying. Basic thinking. I'm not saying that Lee is saying this. He's asking a question. So I don't know if he believes it or not, or he's just putting a question. No. Jesus is not a gunman, which is why we need another striker. So whether he's fit or not, he's not going to offer you that. Odegaard is not a captain in the sense of giving you 9s and 10 out of 10s week in, week out, no matter what. So we need an upgrade in that position. With Granit Xhaka was not the level, and we've not replaced him. All this myth about Zinchenko as a left back will always leave you open on the left-hand side because his deficiencies are defensive. What's it going to do? Is it going to take us, like Granit Xhaka, 7 seasons, 8 seasons to realize, oh yeah, maybe we should play Zinchenko in the midfield and alleviate him from the defensive duties like we did with Xhaka? And then, surprise, surprise, we got the best out of Xhaka when we alleviated him being that shield in the midfield and having to do defensive duties. We don't have a world-class goalkeeper. We don't have rotation for it. Doesn't matter if we have the whole team available. We are not good enough. The quality ain't there, like Kenny said, which is why people are asking for more players. Not because of bodies or lack of bodies. It's the lack of quality. Because if people really believe that we just need players fit, why are people saying that we need a new striker? Why are they saying that we need rotation for Saka? Why are they saying that we need a player that can do what Xhaka was doing for us last season? Why are they saying these things if we're ready? Why are they saying that they're unsure about the goalkeeping situation? It's all a mess. It's not about just having the players fit. It's also about having the quality as your starting 11 and on the bench for when things don't go your way. When things don't go our way, we got Reece Nelson coming off the bench and Eddie Nketiah. Is that good enough? Whether they're fit or not.
It's a great point, man. It's a great point. And this is also a great point in the chat I want to put to Kenny. Big up Mark. Mark Jerome has said the Raya purchase is structured apparently because of FFP. Whether that's true or not, I have no idea, Kenny. So how are we going to improve our squad if we're going to have to sell before we buy it? Do you think that could happen, Ken? Do you think we could sell people in January to get some funds up to go and buy some players? Like, what do you see happening, bro?
Mark's just completely right. The whole situation is that, Raya's a long-term option for Mikel. That's just facts. Mikel's been being targeted in the player, been watching him for 3 years. He's his preferred choice. Before, if he didn't get Raya, he would have gone for Onana, but Onana failed a drugs test. So that's completely true. In terms of what Arsenal need to do, Arsenal are going to have to sell, because let's not forget they spent £100 million on £100 million on Declan Rice, and they spent about 65 million on Kai Havertz. Plus, they've bought Timber as well, so that's nearly 200 million. So yeah, logic says they have to sell. They have to use one of those sellable assets. The obvious asset is the goalkeeper, because he doesn't want to be here. He doesn't feel that he's wanted, and he's got Euros to play. So yeah, highly likely we are going to have to reduce our wage bill. If not in January, definitely when it comes in the summer. But we want to buy in January. Someone's going to have to go. Obviously, people talking about Thomas Partey. Juventus are looking at him. Everyone says Thomas is injured. Of course, you believe that. You believe anything. And then you've got Aram. So 2 players get some decent money for. And you get their wage bill off the, like I said, of the payroll. So those are 2 players I can think of already.
What would you like to see happen, Kenny, in terms of incomings? Like, how many would you like to see in January? What positions? And give me some names if you do have any you fancy.
Well, in terms of January, obviously we'd like to see a striker, but I can't see it happening. Obviously, I'd like to see Ivan Toney because he'd be good and ready. Although, people were saying long term, that he's probably not what we need, and they're looking at players like Victor Osimhen. But I look at the situation. I talk about transition and length of transition. You by all means get Victor Osimhen if you want, but Arsenal needs someone to hit the ground running. Someone like how Haaland did last season. Haaland obviously did his his apprenticeship at RB Salzburg. Then he went to Dortmund. He was ready. Osimhen, the transition from the Italian league to the Premiership is too big. So I'll definitely look at Tony. And then midfielder situation. Well, ideally, if Thomas Partey can resolve his differences with Arteta, we won't need to go and get another midfielder. We'll get him. Him and Declan Rice together alongside Odegaard is a dream team, the dream three in midfield. But if you sold Thomas Partey, then again, that's going to supersede a striker because you're going to need a midfielder. So, the names that have been pandied about, I like the look of Palhinha. I definitely like the look of Luis, but they're not as good as Thomas Partey. That's the thing. You asked me to pick names out of the air, but the only one that is satisfactory to me would be Ivan Toney. But the midfielders, I always say, are they as good as Thomas Partey? Are they better than him? They're not. They're not. But they will bridge the gap.
What are the players that are being touted to be sold?
Well, the one name that keeps them going is Thomas Partey. They're already listening to offers for Thomas Partey, and Eddie Nketiah, his name keeps on banning that as well, because at the end of the day, the lad did sign a 3-year contract last season. He's got $100,000 a week. I believe he's got about got a couple of years left of his contract, or was it? So that is in turn a sellable asset. A Premiership club will be in for Eddie because they would need that fox in the box. Maybe that fox in the box to get him the Europa League, or that fox in the box to keep him up. Either way, that is the name that I'll keep on hearing bandied about as well. But the two Ghanaian lads, Nketiah and Partey, they're shouting. Obviously, Aaron Ramsdale, I'm sure friends of Aaron are probably going around doing a sort of super trolley dash for him to try and get him first team football somewhere. I'm sure they're doing it as we speak. But those three names are the ones that are definitely, I think, are going to be leaving the club sooner rather than later.
It's mad, isn't it? Because let's be real, our midfield actually worries me in the next couple of months, because we're going to have El Nini and Jorginho that are leaving because their contracts are coming up. Thomas Partey's future's in doubt. That leaves us with Declan Rice. And I'm not talking about the attacking ones, by the way, the Havertz, Vieira, Smith-Rowe, because there's some doubts that Smith-Rowe is going to be long-term at Arsenal as well due to injuries and just not being able to hit the ground running. That means we're going to have to go into...
And you left something out, which is very important. I don't think the Smith-Rowe fans would like to hear it. Team's moved away from him. In terms of what we need, in terms of the quality, there's some academy players who are going to make it, and he's not going to make it at Arsenal. Arteta's moved the style of play light years away from what Smith-Rowe is doing. Smith-Rowe was 2 years ago. Sorry to say it. I hate to
be... You think Smith-Rowe was good enough to get us Champions League, and now he's not good enough to go title? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that the team's moved away from Smith-Rowe.
Right.
I can think of, there's a lot of players in front of Emil. Havertz is in front of Emil. Trossard's in front of Emil. And Martinelli's is a guaranteed start. That's 3 players. You know what I mean? And then
you're right.
Playing in midfield, Odegaard's in front of him. So where is Emil going to get a game? Because I'll tell you one thing, I'll be surprised if he gets a game against Liverpool. I mean, we all like an English player to do well here, because it's basically like the dream, isn't it? It's like the happy ending of a Hollywood movie. One of our own to do well, but Mikel has moved a team away from him. Let's not forget, Mikel changes his styles every season. How he played in 22 is different to 23, and how we playing this season. Everyone talks about this Xhaka role. Well, we weren't playing that Xhaka role before the season when we fluffed the Champions League. and gave Tottenham a bye. It's only last season there was a great Xhaka role. This season, Mikel's moved the style off, away from that. And that's the thing. Arsenal fans, do the eye test. Do not look at a role and think that it's permanent. Know your manager. Know your manager and know that he's always changing things because he wants the opposition. Sorry, he wants to be one step ahead of the opposition. He doesn't want the opposition to work us out and gain control of matches. There was a lot of things that he was dissatisfied with last season. Hence the fact he's changed the style of playing, changed the goalie. You know what I mean? Would we have won the league if we had injured players? Hell no. Because Man City's first 11 was superior to us. And it was night and day. No matter how well we were playing, we were the example of form is temporary, and they're the example of class is forever. This is facts. We proved it by bottling the league. But if we had a fully fit players, look at the heads-to-heads. You know, everyone says we didn't win the league because Saliba weren't playing. Well, Saliba was there when the rot started, when we've brought Bournemouth at home and Aston Villa away, I believe. That's how we lost the league, because we became vulnerable at the back. That's where it was lost, ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right, man. Listen, people, there's creeping up to 200 people in here. Make sure you do us a favor. Hit the like, subscribe. Make sure you come follow Kenny Kane and Northside LDN as well on all their socials and obviously on Northside's YouTube channel. Listen, I've got to say, this Ivan Toney rumor will not go away, Northside. There's a lot of people in the chat saying that we should look at maybe Diamande as a right-sided centre-back and also Fofana as a box-to-box midfielder in January and then go for the striker in the summer. Let's concentrate on the striker for a minute and keep away from the midfield, because I do want to come back to it. We got to go and get Ivan Toney, haven't we? A lot of people are saying, no, don't do that. Wait till the summer. Go get Osimhen. I want to win now, bro. I want to win this year. I don't want to wait already to talk about who we're going to get next year. We've got a season. We've got a title to win. We've got a Champions League to win. I want to go get Ivan Toney in January if he's available. They're talking about loans. I don't think they're going to loan him. I think it's going to cost us money. We've got to try and get this guy, man. We've just got £72 million of Champions League money for qualifying to the last 16. Got to go and use some of that to go and get Ivan Toney. That's my honest opinion, bruv. Where you at?
Yeah. First of all, big up to Donna Potts. You're doing an excellent job.
You're doing well. What up, Mum? Keep going, Mum.
Hi, Donna.
Big up to you. Did an
Kenny
excellent
loves Donna. Kenny loves me, Mum, Donna. And my mum loves Kenny. Go on, Northside. Sorry, man.
I was just going to say, I find it completely hilarious that whoever people want to get rid of, this manager either brought to the team or gave them a contract extension. And this is why when I get annoyed at us wasting money on players like Lokonga, Fabio Vieira, giving Oneni a new contract, Reece Nelson a new contract, the true feelings on these players when I call it out is that people are saying, oh, no, they're dead wood. Let's sell them to make way for an Ivan Toney, which we should go out there and get. Your true feelings come out, because I don't see anybody saying, oh, you know what, we need to make money for Ivan Toney. Let's get rid of Saka. I hear them say that. You know what I mean? Why? Because you rate him. So this is why when we're spending money and wasting money on certain players, I get annoyed, because it's like, well, we're not, we don't have endless pots of money, so you got to use it wisely. And a lot of this team has been built by this manager. And now we need to get rid of, 3, 4, 5 players to make up money to buy an actual quality player. Why did we get them in the first place? Or why did you re-sign certain players on a new contract in the first place? So that's my opinion on that bit. But on a striker, this fan base were happy when we re-signed Eddie Nketiah to a new contract. And now they're saying that we need a new striker. If anyone's trying to tell me that, oh, let's wait till the summer, we've been doing that for 20 years. Wait till the summer, we'll get this. Wait till the summer, we'll replace Vieira. Wait till the summer, we'll replace Sol Campbell. Wait till the summer, we'll replace Thierry Henry. Wait till the summer. Wait till the summer. If you don't really believe that Eddie Nketiah is good enough, then get it done now. We've seen Tottenham as an example. Under Poch, him create miracles. And then because their ownership wasn't proactive, eventually a lot of those players that were on the bench under Poch became their first team players. Then look at them. A lot of them, Davies he wasn't a first team player. A lot of them guys that were playing for Tottenham, they weren't first team players. But because the club wasn't proactive, because the club didn't go out there and get the quality needed to get over the line, eventually they started, those players that are not good enough started creeping into the first team. At the end of the day, if this fan base aren't happy with if Jesus is injured in January and we only got Nketiah, if they're not happy with him being our number one for us to get a major honor, which is what was predicted, go out there and get Ivan Toney. Stop creating excuses, yeah, for the Cronkies. You're not their lawyer. You're not their brother. You're not their dad. Yeah, put the club first. Get their money out of their pocket and go and buy what we need to buy. Because we bottled it last season, and guess what? We only got Trossard, and then we got Kivior, and everyone called it a 10 out of 10 window. When people like us were saying that it ain't good enough, we still got gaps, there's still things. What happened? Like, at the end of the day, with Arsenal, we have been in the gutter so many years that you can just reference a year, 2 years, 3 years back. Doing this whole thing, wait till the summer, has always made us fall short. So why don't we change it? Why don't we actually take a different approach? Why don't we go into January and get the positions that are necessary? Just get it done. Because you're either going to pay for it in January or you're going to pay for it in the summer. Just get it done now. Because in the summer, we've got nothing to fight for. Right now, we could still potentially, if we do the right dealings and the right signings, go on to win the league. I want to be proven wrong. I'm sure Kenny wants to be proven wrong. I'm sure you, Dan, if you have doubts in this team, want to be proven wrong. So why don't we be proactive now? Because we're not far off the top. I know we're not top of the league. Just be happy right now. So go and get the players that are necessary. We know that Nketiah ain't the level. So just go get it done. Get it done. Even if you spend less in the summer, well, if you do more business now, you don't need to spend as much in the summer because you've got most of your business done now anyway. So what's the difference? What's the actual difference? If you don't spend it now, you're spending it in the summer anyway because you need to get the quality. So just get it done now. And then in the summer, don't need to spend as much because now we've got a replacement for Xhaka. We've got a striker. We've got a number 10 that's actually going to be able to affect games when we're in the crunch end of the season. We've got a centre-back that can fill in for Saliba Gabriel. We've got a goalkeeper that can actually challenge. You know what I mean? Is up there with the elite keepers. We've got rotation for Saka. Like, what is? I don't understand this hesitancy to push the club to do more in January when we actually got things to fight for. I just don't get it.
No, I'm with you, bro. Like, for me, January comes around and we need to go and improve. And if that's, that might mess up our summer move, I don't care. We do it now because we've got a league to win. We've got a Champions League win. We need to be going and winning a trophy this season. And if Tony gets us closer to that, you do it. I spoke to Lee Judges earlier about the same thing. Buy Ivan Toney in the summer. Keep Eddie. If you really want to keep Eddie, if people are going to cry, if we're not going to sell Eddie, then keep Eddie as your third choice. That's fine by me. And then move Jesus over to cover for Saka if need be, and then go and buy Osimhen as well, and then sell Eddie in the summer. That's what you can do. That's what you honestly believe, that Osimhen can come in here. All good. Kenny, where are you at? Ivan Toney, you want him?
Oh, definitely, because simple reason is that he has made the transition throughout his career. You know, he started at Newcastle, he struggled, he went to Northampton. He went to Peterborough, and then from Peterborough he went to Brentford. And you know, Brentford has been a really good grinding for strikers. You know, like I said, before they had Ivan, they had Ollie Watkins. Before they had Mope. They all got went on the Premiership clubs, did okay. Watkins is fantastic, and Aston Villa. And I think that Ivan Toney, to be able to score goals in the Championship, to score 20 goals last season, he's a player that we should be looking at, and we need to look at his performances against us. Let's look at his performance at the Emirates last season. Despite the fact that Brentford scored a dodgy goal and the referee forgot to draw the lines, they battered us. They absolutely ruined us in that first half. Ivan Toney was messing our defenders around. He was barging, bullying Saliba. Gave Saliba his hardest game. He gave them. When he went down the left-hand side, he gave Ben White, a run for his money, and he even bullied Partey. That's the kind of player we need. If you want to sort of like have a sort of situation where you can change your style of play, he's perfect for us, and he scores goals as well. His all-round game, is exactly what we're looking for. We have to, as much as we love what Jesus does, he brings players into the game, and I understand that's what Mikel would like. Brings Martinelli in the game, gets Saka into, space for Saka, space for Odegaard to, create or getting on the end of chances. That's all fantastic. But ultimately, we only have to look at the example of Man City. Pep's changed his style where he got in a striker and that look what happened there. He won the treble, and I think strikers do win you trophies. They do win you leagues. That's where where we need to be, because history has showed us that to win the league these days for Man City back, you've got to get about at least 98 points, 100 points, and you've got to get about 90, 100 goals. We got 88 goals last season. They still didn't win the league. We didn't even get close. Man City, didn't drop points. They won the league by 10 points, despite the fact that we were leading the league for 93% of the season. So Ivan Toney's definitely someone we can look at. Obviously, Ollie Watkins is banging form, but they're different. They're different strikers. Yeah. Ollie Watkins previously was, he used to work those channels and then try and cut him from the left. That's where he plays football. But under Unai this season, he's just a fox in a box. But with Ivan, I want someone who can hold the ball up. Someone who can, could run those channels, got a decent pace, but has all the finishes. Or can either tap it in, score from distance, head, left foot, right foot, volley. That's the striker I want. I think he's a complete centre forward. He's someone we should definitely be looking at. I understand people talking about Victor Osimhen. Fair enough, but I still think the transition from Serie A to the Premier League is massive now. Massive. And I'm not convinced that he will be what we're looking for. So it's all well and good looking at the foreign player and think, oh, right, because they're foreign players, they're how do I say it, their fish and chips are better than ours. The fact is, it's all about transitions. And as, Northside says, we need to win the league yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
like
facts.
yesterday.
That's facts, man. Absolute facts. And listen, for me, I've got no problem with Arsenal being linked with Osimhen. I've got no problems that people want Evan Ferguson because he's going to be the next Harry Kane. That's fine by me, but I do want to win now. I don't want to have to wait 5 years for Evan Ferguson to come and be because he doesn't even get into the Brighton first team every week, by the way. João Pedro still gets ahead of him. So for me, Ivan Toney is ready now. I know that he hasn't played for a while. I get that. I like Ollie Watkins, but for me, if you ask me who do I want, I would say Ivan Toney ahead of him because I just think he's more physical and more of an all-round striker than Ollie Watkins. Not that I don't rate Ollie Watkins because I think he's class. So for me, a striker is needed, but we still need to look at our midfield, man, because our midfield for me is still weak north side. And I've said it previously, Jorginho and El Neni are going to be gone. Partey's future's in doubt. Declan Rice is the only one we have. He's the only box-to-box we have. William Saliba is the only right-sided centre-back we actually have because Ben White's made his way as a right-back. Tomiyasu is a full-back. Timber is a full-back, it seems. So Kivior's now going to have to come over on the right-hand side or one of them's going to have to shift inside. How about just go and buy another right-sided centre-back that covers for Saliba? So people are talking about Diamande. People are speaking about Yusuf Fofana. I think they'd be very, very good players. I like Kefren Turam as well over at Lille. So for me, I think there's definitely some opportunities for Arsenal, right? But when I look at it, last summer, at the last game, I think on my fan cam, I said I wanted Mark Guehi to cover for Saliba. I wanted James Maddison to cover for Odegaard and to play alongside him if need be. I wanted Moussa Diaby to cover for Saka or Pedro Neto. I wanted a centre forward, which was Ivan Toney, I mentioned, and I wanted Rice and Caicedo together, right? We did like half of that, not even half of that, actually. So right now, I'm saying our midfield needs to be looked at. And I don't think that we'll get everybody in January. But I do think that what we do need at the bare minimum, if we want to win this title, is a couple of them holes fixed. And midfielder is one of them. And centre forward is another. And I do say that Diamande, Yusuf Fofana and Ivan Toney are all gettable in January. Because you can't tell me that Sporting Lisbon are going to not allow Diamande to go for the right money. Likewise, I don't think Monaco are going to hold on to Yusuf Fofana, who's got 1 year left on his deal, I believe. And Ivan Toney has made it very clear he wants Arsenal. So it's not like we're asking Arsenal to go buy Mbappe and Haaland and Bellingham here, right? These are very realistic targets. So I think we need to get those three positions sewn up in January, bruv.
I agree, bro. I agree. I think a lot of the signings that we're asking for are realistic, bro. Even when Pedro Neto has been put out there, like you said, Maddison, Maddison and Basuma could have been playing for Arsenal now. How much did they get Basuma for? You've seen this season how good he is. You know what I mean? Like, what was it, 25 million, something like that? Madison as well was under 50 million. Like, we're not, like you just said, we're not asking for Bellingham money and that kind of money. We're just saying go out there, be proactive. And to be honest, yeah, we have reason to feel like that because the great Sir Alex Ferguson, as much as I used to hate him, now that he's retired, I couldn't do nothing but big him up. He used to pluck Berbatov. You know what I mean? He used to go and pluck all these players from rivals, Rooney from Everton. You know what I'm saying? And we've seen some improvement in our team and us doing the same thing. Getting Jesus, getting Trossard. Because last season, Trossard was very good. Let's keep it real. He was very good. This season, it's been hit and miss. When he's in form, he doesn't get selected. When he's out of form, he's selected. He also has to step up. But we could see that now we've got competition for Martinelli. We went and got Zinchenko. As much as defensively I ask questions of him, going forward, he's offered us another dynamic. And he hasn't had to adjust to the league in that sense. You've got Declan Rice, also came from the Premier League. There's all these clubs that we can go pip from. And that are ready. Because let's keep it real, Dan. If we're going to go in January, the reason why I don't want Osimhen is because we don't know how he's going to react to the Premier League. People always talking about, Jesus is integral to the way we play football. Well, Ivan Toney technically is up there with him. So he can hold the ball. His link play is great, but he's a better finisher. And this is not us guessing. Jesus has come out and said it himself after the interview with Brazil when he was in the national team. He said he's not a goal scorer. We've got a goalkeeper that said he can't focus for 90 minutes. It's like, come on. We're asking. Madison was gettable. Yeah. A lot of these players are gettable. We're a bigger team than them. And we need to flex ourselves and muscle our way. We bullied Tottenham into Sol Campbell. Like, we went and got that done. That's the equivalent of getting Harry Kane when he was at Tottenham from Tottenham. How much have we fallen that we're now asking for a Maddison? And yes, a Maddison was sourcing in the Leicester City team that were rubbish. And he was the only one performing before he left. But we're struggling to bring over a Maddison when back in the day we'd get Sol Campbell from our North London rivals. That was their best player at the time. And are we asking for too much? I'm not saying go out there and get Haaland from Man City. Then I could understand someone saying, you know what, Northside, you're pushing it a bit. We're saying go out there and get Ivan Toney. Because whoever comes in January, we need them to kick. Look at Trossard. Trossard came in January last season, and we got him playing as a striker. We got him playing on the wing. Do you know what I'm saying? And he was sourcing. Why? Because he's accustomed to the Premier League. If you're going to buy in January, I prefer us to buy within the Premier League, in my opinion. Because you don't need that bedding in. The only thing they need to learn is the way that we're playing football. But in terms of what they are to expect in this league, and if they're good enough, the proof is already in the pudding. It's now just bedding them into the team. So why not go and do that? I don't really want to go out there and get an Osimhen and these players there that are, unless they're top level, they're top players, don't really want to. Osimhen, the jury's still out. It's still out if he can do it. He could become another Darwin Núñez, where Darwin Núñez is still trying to find his feet in the Premier League. He's not been the consistent player for the money that they spent. Darwin Núñez still missing chances because they got him from Benfica and he was sourcing in the Portuguese league, came here. He ain't really been the same player that he was in Portugal since he's been here.
Timo Werner as well. Remember him?
Remember Shevchenko?
Yeah. Mattia Kezman as well over at Holland. And then he come and Chelsea and was awful. So it does happen. It's risky, man. Yeah, you're right.
Like, you can do that in the summer because in the summer you've got time in pre-season to bed them in, teach them the way you want to play football, give them at least they can pick up to speed and stuff like that. Even then people still say, give him a season, give him 2 seasons. Why are you going to bring that in January when you're trying to contend for the league? It makes no sense. It's making the job harder for the manager when there's already quality within the league. I don't get it personally, but look, at the end of the day, we're going to do the bare minimum, Dan, because we are the minority. The majority of this fan base, I didn't hear the outrage when we were hearing whispers from journalists already, trying to pattern up the fan base to say, we've only got enough money for a midfielder. There was no outrage. Arsenal fans, only a midfield. That's all right then. That's okay. All right then. Okay.
Man, it's crazy. No, you're right. Listen, the Jorginho and Trossard thing, it was a madness, really, because we needed more than that to go and make sure. And LB on this channel, big up LB, City fan, he said, I don't understand why Arsenal didn't go boom, 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 league's ours. And he's saying that about Villa now. Villa are in a very, very unbelievable situation where they go and get 2 or 3 in January. Don't be surprised if they do very well this season. Not a title, but go and do something which I think could be a trophy in Champions League football.
Dan,
Incredible.
let's. I think what's happened, right? Is, that sort of thing. Form is temporary. It's only a few weeks that I've got a lot of. I've got my cousins who are Tottenham fans. I've got a lot of friends who are Spurs fans. But let's be honest. There was only about maybe 6 or 7 weeks ago, with people talking about Big Ange. Big Ange, is now morphed into Unai. You know what I mean? Everything's all right in the camp, and I think cut results. And no, that's not taking the mickey, because something is definitely going on at Spurs. There's no doubt something's going on. But I think this is a season where everyone's dropping points. The league is, the positions in the league are changing hands. We won't know who's going to be challenging, or who's going to be challenged for the top 4, or the favourites for the league or top 4, until probably January the 31st. Where everyone's probably played each other, and we've all had those wretched Christmas games I don't like. Obviously, my view. I think Christmas football should be banned. If there's no travel for fans on Boxing Day, why have the bloody games? But that's just another debate, which I'm sure we'll have many, many times. In fact, we have it all the time when we meet at home games. But
yeah, mate.
In saying that, I understand the old situation, but I think that at the moment, no one's really the favourite. No, the only team that's really favourites to win the league is Man City, because they're Man City. Arsenal still got a few issues. We're still lopsided when it comes to the midfield. We don't score enough goals as I'd like. We're not playing as the exciting, attractive football we played last season. Liverpool score a lot of goals, but can they defend? Not really. And Man City just going through. Have a lot of injuries to players like De Bruyne. Obviously, Haaland's injured. He's had a few injuries here and there, and Alvarez is, like I said, not sure whether he's a striker or right side player. But come January the 31st, coming into February, we know that's where the challenge is for Arsenal. That's where Man City are going to be on it. De Bruyne is going to be back. Haaland's going to be fit and fresh. And then, that's when they're going to go on a run. That's why, getting these players and getting the identify why they're playing is important. Very important. Getting players back in form. Saka, if we don't get a striker, we're going to need more goals from Saka. Saka's provided assists. We're going to need goals. Martinelli needs to, get back the form of Odegaard. And, Havertz needs to continue his purple patch, isn't he? For the last month, he's had a bit of a purple patch. I mean, who'd have thought it? Kai Havertz, November player of the month for the Arsenal. I mean, if you ask me,
I don't know how Rice didn't win that, by the way. I don't know how Rice.
Well, no. Come on, mate. I think. Well, I don't call him Declan Rice. I call him Declan in English, because a few years ago he was Irish. Until England did well in Russia, innit? I mean, I call Declan Rice. What I call Declan Rice. He's one of those players who can fit into anything. He'll be anything you want him to be. If you want Declan Rice to be Irish, he'll be Irish. I mean, the amount of times I used to get videos from my mates in Ireland, sending videos of him and his dad, emotional about hearing the Irish anthem, national anthem. Eran de Bahrain. Declan Rice crying, and then the next minute you see him getting emotional about God save the King. That's Declan. You've got to love Declan. His name ain't Declan Rice. Declan English.
Got to love Rice.
Declan English. But saying
Kenny,
Declan's a great player,
Kenny,
but he's not a Thomas Partey.
No, you're right, man. Thomas Partey, we miss him. Just quickly, last question for both of you. Predictions for this weekend and a team that you would be happy to get in the next round of the last 16. Kenny, start with you, man.
I think we're going to win. I don't think Brighton are the same team of the last 2 seasons. I think playing in Europe has affected Brighton. There's been injuries and there's been departures of key players, and they're not too sure about who their best striker is, and they're not playing. They're more fallible than they were, last season. Defensively, they're a mess. I think if we score early, we win comfortably. I think we'll win 2-0. And in terms of who we get in the Champions League, I want us to have the same attitude Spurs had when they were in the Champions League. I want us to have the same attitude Chelsea had when they were in the Champions League. You know, we've probably, out of all the teams in the Premiership, we've probably been in the groups, last 16 in the Champions League on a regular basis, but we've hardly laid a glove on the teams. I think it needs to change now. We shouldn't be afraid of no one. No one. Respect Bayern Munich, respect Real, respect Man City. But hang on here. We're a big club. We're the third biggest club in the country. I'm not worried about no one. I shouldn't be, but, I wouldn't lose any sleep if we get Bayern Munich. I wouldn't lose any sleep to get Real Madrid, because I think this is where it's about time we beat these teams. But realistically, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich are going to have much more experience than us, and they'll probably pump us. But in terms of who I'd like to get, Copenhagen.
That's what I said, man.
Sorry, Copenhagen fans, and sorry any Danish fans. That was the worst group I've ever seen. That was every team in that team. Because kids are watching, I'm not going to use expletives or words I should be using. But come on, look at that group. Copenhagen in the last 16. Help me out here, mate. I watched Copenhagen. Let's have Copenhagen. Trust me. And if they're selling tickets to the Emirates, I want them to be £10.
Mate, I must say I would take them 100%. I was asked the same question last night, and I said, you know what? I don't care who we get, really, because we should be able to get through. But if I had to, Copenhagen, yeah. Lazio, I wouldn't mind, if I'm honest. There was a couple others that I went through. Northside, same for you, bruv. Sunday, we got Brighton, and then a team in the Champions League will be drawn. I think it's this week, coming next Monday. Monday next week. Yeah. So what's your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, Brighton, I believe we're going to win. I reckon we'll beat them. They can't even beat Burnley. They can't even beat Sheffield United. So, I think this Burnley team isn't the same as last season. I fancy us against Brighton. I think in the Champions League, bring on the hardest team. Bring on Bayern, bring on Real Madrid. Because the arrogance I hear from this fan base and the way they be talking and the predictions at the start of the season is we're going to win the Champions League or the Premier League. So if we're going to win the Champions League, they put this team up there with the best in Europe. Cool. Let's face them. Because eventually, if we're going to win it, like they predicted, we're going to have to face them anyway. So might as well face them now. Let's see what we're made of. That's what I say. And then let's see if they backtrack and everything that they said at the start of the season. That's what I want to see. Because I know it would be backtracking. You know what I mean? If we get Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or whatever and we get slapped up, all of a sudden it's, oh no, wait till next year. Oh no, it's our first year back in the Champions League. Oh yeah, but the team, there's injuries. Oh, if only we had, bro, I want to see in it. Because they talk, a lot of Arsenal fans, they talk a lot in it. They talk a lot. And then as soon as it comes crumbling down, I want to hear the excuses. Because I got all the receipts. Northside, aka Mr. Receipts. I got all the receipts. So I want to hear what they got to say. I want to see what excuses they're going to come out with. Was it VAR? Did VAR rip us off? Did the pundits not want us to win the Champions League? What is it? I don't know. Let's see what they come out with. But if they really back this team, we should be able to deal with Real Madrid. We should be able to deal with anyone. Super Mick Arteta. You know what I mean? He knows exactly what we need.
Love that, man.
Me and you, the only way don't sing that song. You know what I mean? At the games,
oh mate,
everyone looks at us. We got
me and Kenny, right? We stand there in the concourse, and we're the only two that don't sing that stupid song.
No, we've got invisible sellotape on our lips, haven't we?
Mate, he knows exactly what we need. Tierney at the back, they're all still singing. He's got the Real Sociedad. Gabby in attack. We're on our way to the Champions League, a competition we've just qualified for and we've gone through in the last 16. Why are we singing that? Change the lyrics, people. Dear me.
Just make up your own song, Dan. I've got my own one now. There's only one Arsene Wenger, but for me, you're being toxic and negative. Toxic and negative. You're being toxic and negative.
Don't print shirts. Don't print shirts because if you change that, people will remind you of it. I'm the last person who printed shirts. He had to drink a bit of hemlock in it when he started changing his mind about the manager.
Mate, honestly, it's mad. The fans will always have their opinions, and long may it continue, man. Listen, big up Northside, man. What are you up to at the moment? How can people come follow you, bro?
Yeah, Northside LDN on YouTube. I dropped a video just before we went live, so you can check that out. And yeah, man, just like and subscribe on the channel. And yeah, soon gonna open up my TikTok. So hopefully I can rattle the fan base on both platforms, YouTube and TikTok. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna do 30 seconds of being the most toxic and negative I can conjure up for 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying?
And that'd
And
be
I know
easy
it's
for
by
you, you know
popular
what I'm saying?
demand. Huh?
I said that'll be easy for you. I'm sure the people will say 30 seconds of Northside is going to be toxic and negative for sure, man. But big up, man. Love as always for coming on, bro. Kenny, likewise, man. What you got coming on? Kenny Ken 1972 at Instagram, I believe. Is that right?
That's right. Twitter's just dead as a doornail. But also, I want to thank Edison Metalifia for leaving you a like. He won't watch because I'm on, and he's actually said it. But I'm glad he's left you a like, and I hope out of all those likes you asked for, he did the right thing. You know, left you a like and did a fat off because I'm on. That's the least he could do for deserting you because I'm on. But in terms of what I'm going to do, I'm going to be with you on Sunday at the Emirates Stadium. You know, filming fans singing songs. You know, someone getting Piggy, you know, playing musical chairs and singing the El Nenny song, Poor El Nenny. There's people realise that they're actually taking a mickey at that poor man. You know what I mean? They don't like. You know what, Muhammad? Don't wave to them when they sing that song. They're taking a mickey out of you. They think you're dry. They think you're a rubbish player, but they're just doing it to take the mickey out of you. So don't fall for it. Remember what they did with a Boué when they all started pretending to like a Boué.
We only come to see you, Boué. I remember that. Yeah.
Like I said, Muhammad, don't be a pork chop now. You fall for that.
Love Kenny. Love people. Make sure you smash us a like. Big up my mum as well for getting the likes up in the chat. Thank you for that. And do you know what? Literally go enjoy Champions League football and look forward to the weekend, people. Hopefully we get 3 points and we move. We'll be back very, very soon. Until then, take it easy. Smash a like on your way out. Make sure you follow the guys and we'll see you next time. Take care.